Welcome to Gurukul Online Learning Network's Music Department Sitar lessons. I am Nishit Dey. On the last episode, we have learned on how to place or position our left hand on the sitar fretboard. Today, we are going to learn a bit more about how to find notes on the sitar. So, I am hoping that you could finally play the sa, and I'm hoping that all your troubles regarding sitting and tuning and finding out the position of the left hand is much better now. If it's not, I would recommend that you finish those first, get up to a satisfactory level, and then watch the rest of the video or follow today's class. So I'm just going to give you a small recap on how to sit with the sitar, and I'm going to do it for a while because it's very easy to forget. It's just so much to remember, at least at first, and eventually it becomes very natural for you. So again, sitting like this, crisscross legged, and picking up the sitar, resting it on the left foot on the curve. Sorry for that. On the curve, and then I'm going to fill this gap with my thigh like this, and then I am going to extend my hand like this, stretch it towards the left, and I get the fret, and most importantly I pull the sitar with my finger and bring it close to my body, and all I have to do is make sure that I hold it in a way that the thumb becomes less important. It still needs to be there, but the role of it is very minimal yet important. Now we are going to discuss on the strokes, the notes of the sitar. Now in Indian classical music we have 12 notes. In them we have the sa and pa, which don't have any other variations. Every other note either has a major or a minor or a normal form. So just a quick guide. The sa, there is only one sa. Then you have re, you have the shuddha re or the komal re. In terms of komal re, I can play, or the minor re, I can play with a mir, or I can push this fret backwards, and then I will have an instantly komal re. More on this later. Then we have the komal ga, shuddha ga, and then we have ma, shuddha ma, tivra ma, pa. Again, it's a standard low note like the sa. Then you have komal dha, shuddha dha. Here you can also reposition the note, the fret, and then you have ni, and then you have the minor ni, and then the upper octave sa. Okay. Now I have a theory that I came up with that I teach my students. So it's 1 2 gap 1 2 gap 1 2 gap 1 2. So you have 1 2, then gap, then 1 2 gap, and then 1 2 gap, and then 1 2. When you come back, it's the same. 1 2 gap, 1 2 gap, 1 2 gap, and then 1 2. So it's not going to be very smooth sounding like you probably hear mine, but the practice over here is slowly getting used to the frets, and also the sliding movement is going to help you to make that line we were talking about, and this line will develop through various exercises eventually. If you don't have a stable line, it's completely fine. By the way, you should be having my email address over here. I would love to give you feedback on your finger lines, because it's probably the most important thing in playing sitar, on how this line becomes. So send me pictures of the lines and I'll happy to reply back to you. So without further ado, let's go and play the so this is also going to be a combination of the previous practices you have. So the practice that you have is 4 ras and 4 das. You're going to do the same practice, but this time you're going to do it with every note there is. So I'll demonstrate up till pa and come back. You can go till sa and come back, and you have to keep doing it till literally your hands shiver or your body tells you that you need to stop. Just like going to the gym, you pick up your sitar, do it as much as you can, and then when it's time to stop, you relax, you stretch out your legs, then bring it back up. Do this for at least 20 minutes, if more the merrier. So going for the frets, so that's a Tivrama. And then you go back just the same way. So it's just a slight addition to the previous practices. So you have one more layer, but it's if you do this, it's going to compensate for everything else. So I would still recommend that the first 5 minutes of the sitar, just like when you do cardio at the gym, is going to be the warm-up period. So you just stand in one position, press hard, and you make sure that there is a simple line for you to kind of follow. Once that is done, keep down the sitar, wait for 2 minutes, bring it back up, and then go for the sa to sa and then back again. One more rule that is not very important, but it's important nonetheless, is the last note has to be played by the middle finger, and that is because when you finally go up to speed, you don't have to waste time in coming back. So you play the last returning note with the middle finger, and so when you return from that note, your index is already at the position, so it's gonna save you a lot of time, and it's going to help you bring up your speed. So one last recap: this is 1-2 gap 1-2 gap 1-2 gap 1-2. The last note in here, sa, you play with the middle finger and then you come back.